Kind of go over some Devin Booker clips. Obviously, I'm a big Devin Booker fan. I love anybody who specializes in the mid range because the greatest scorers of all time have all had mid ranges. So you know, people are gonna say what they're gonna say about it. But here's the first clip. Just little stuff that I noticed. This is me trying to test my learning too. So first thing is he comes off a pick and roll in this clip, and so I'm kind of gonna go slow. So I'll just let it run through real quick. See how wide that is? Because it's so wide, it gives Royce O'Neal a chance to get back, right? So let's analyze it a little bit more. So if we're coming down, right, we'll go super slow. You see how wide he is coming off to the left? If you know somebody's dropping, and they're not going to go under you, right? Because you can shoot. So your man's going over top. So if you're coming off wide, you're giving him a bigger gap to get in front. And when you give him a bigger gap to get in front, that's just going to make the jumper harder on you. So D-Book, if he comes off a little tighter, gets to the snake, if he was already on DeAndre Ayton's left foot right there, he'd be getting to the pull-up. Easy, right? He'd be able to drag Rudy out, maybe get the lob, maybe draw in, Donovan in the corner for a skip. You'll see how Mike Conley drops and plays both of them, kind of look them off. But, you see how wide it is, and it gives him a chance to just be right there. That's a good shot for D-Book, right? That's a perfect shot, but it's just little stuff like this. So the thing I would do differently if I was Devin Booker is I would come off and make sure I'm coming off and getting that outside foot coming off his shoulder, coming off the screener's shoulder. So if I'm coming off my outside foot instead of my inside foot right there, I have the ability to push off the outside and get back to the right. But because he's coming off the inside, you can't really push off the inside foot, then change direction back to the right. So, D-Book get into that. You come off. Make sure you take a dribble before you come off. The hang dribble is kind of tough because you got to get both feet. You got to go 1-2. But, if he just gets to that outside foot and he plants off of it, you see how he plants off of it there, and then he can start shifting, getting to the snake. The sooner you can plant off that outside foot when trying to get to the snake, the sooner you can, the more space you can get away from your man, draw out the drop, the big, right? Draw him out, and then you're playing, 2-on-1 on the backside. This is one of my favorite types of finishes. Yeah, this is so Kobe right here. I just love it. Just get to the spot. Quick pull up, short steps. He misses it, but let's look at it. So D-Book's obviously got Boyan. I think that's how you say his name. He's got him on the wing, right? They're in transition. Guys are gonna go in transition. That's when guys really defenses aren't set. They're not watching you. They're trying to get to their man. They're pointing. And so he's got a one-on-one. He's got the mismatch. We like this, right? Hezo, get him up. Boom. You see he's jumpy. He sees he's jumpy. So, when you see somebody who's jumpy like that, right off the rip, right off the bounce, you have him, in your grasp. You can do whatever you want. So he gives a little side step. Let me go back. Hezo, get him up. Just see how he's playing, right? Side step. Give him another Hezo. Hey, one dribble. See how short that step is? He did that short step. So there's two types of pull-ups. There's the long step, which is, real Kobe, Mike, just long step. Usually you do it off the rip because you just cover so much space with it. This one is clean because this is more like a Lou Will. I study a lot of Lou Will. Lou Will does this a lot, right? He takes these short steps and he'll fade to the side. Instead of fading backwards, he kind of fade to the side. D-Book doesn't do it too much in terms of the fade, but you see how, look at the stance that Boyan's giving right now, right? He's giving him a straight line to the basket. So obviously he's trying to force him into Rudy. This will be easy, lob opportunity. There's nobody who's going to crack down. Like, if Royce comes over, as Devin Booker's driving it, the kick is wide open to the three. But, this is too much space, right? This is an easy lob, dump down if he drives the lane. But, it's D-Book, so he's going to get a shot off. And I'm perfectly okay with that. So he gets downhill. Let me go slow. One dribble. See that slight fade, right? So there's two types of ways you can fade it. You can fade it straight to the side like that. Straight kind of backwards, kind of lean back, right? The whole thing that set it up was Boyan's feet. I don't know if D-Book was looking at that. I'm sure he was. NBA player, great player. So you look at somebody's feet like that, the the angle they're going to have to take is going to be straight back to the basket, right? Because their feet are planted like that. They're not going to take a diagonal angle to cut you off. If Boyan's going diagonal right here, there's a good chance he could, get a hand on it, block it, whatever, make it tougher contested. Even though he misses it, this is a wide open shot for D-Book. So the short pull-ups, especially when your man is, has a terrible angle in my opinion, when his feet are just facing the basket almost. I mean, they're trying to do it with Rudy, but that quick pull-up, that can really get off a lot of times. So there's another clip. I liked a couple things he did here. Just little stuff as pick and roll guys, as guards. First thing he does, he gets his shoulder into him. Anytime you're coming off a pick and roll, you want to try to get him as low as you can. Not as low as you can. I'd say you want to try to get him under the screener at least. That's the best way, right? Especially if you're a shooter. Because if you get him under, the further you can get him under, if he has to go under, you stop behind it, you pull it. If he goes over top, like he does here, you can kind of work. So he gets him low. DeAndre Ayton, he's Royce O'Neal's under him. He's getting physical with him. You don't want to let the defender, on-ball defender, push you around at all, ever. So he gets under him, right? Look at his right arm right there. You see his right arm? He's keeping that. He's kind of feeling where he's at, but he's also using it to push off, right? So as a pick and roll guy, as you're coming off, if you can kind of feel with your offhand, you can kind of feel how he's playing. You can feel how fast he's trying to get over the screen. You can feel if he's trying to skinny up, and it gives you an extra bit of leverage when you're coming off the screen. He comes off, he's going over top. Rudy's going to drop. So there's two things D-Book can do. D-Book can attack right away, try to get to the rim, which is a great shot blocker. 8 foot standing, whatever wingspan it is. That's not ideal all the time. Certain guys can do it. Or he can get to the pull-up, which, will be tough just because of the spacing. But, he can still get it off if he gets Rudy going downhill fast enough. But a good thing, especially in drop coverage, is to come off when your man's coming over top, make contact back like he does. So you see how he bounces back into him, right? He creates that contact, right? So if you're going forward, O'Neal's momentum's going forward. If you can stop and go back as a ball handler, go back into him and get his momentum to stop, then he has to completely stop his feet and pick his feet back up. So you notice how he stops and he fakes like he's going to the rim, right? Boom. So you stop Royce's momentum right there, get him thinking that he's going to try to blast off with this step. He's going to try to get in front and take Rudy Gobert. So now he's rushing to get there, right? You see how he runs to get there? D-Book just bounces out. This is still good defense. I mean, Royce is in the league for a reason. He knows he's a defender for a reason. But he hits the jumper. Good shot. Here's another clip. This is a very similar clip to the last one. Let's watch D-Book, right? Run it down. Gets to the corner. Deep corner. Spacing, right? If you're, he's going to come off a double. He's going to come off a stagger. The higher you up, the harder it is. The less spacing you have. So create spacing. Get him on a run. It gives you more time as the guy coming off to read and can in peripheral kind of see how he's playing off. Is he going to go under the stagger? Is he going to trail you? If he trails, you curl, try to get to the rim, one dribble pull up, lob with DeAndre Ayton as you attack Rudy. Is he going to go under? Well, you can stop behind the ball, stop behind the stagger and shoot the ball. So just spacing, always necessity. Any position. Come off the stagger. Would like to see him create a little bit more contact. Walk him in. That's very fundamental. You don't always have to do it. Let's be real. But the more space you can come, especially if you can get him inside. The further inside you can get as a shooter, the more likely you can, come off the DHO and stop behind the screen and shoot a jumper. And we know all shooters want to shoot that. Step behind it. Come on. So he comes off it, pushes off a little bit. Good job. Coming off tight. Goes over top. Isn't really reading Donovan too much. See him right there. One dribble, boom, stop with that right foot, step behind the three, whatever. But he does it. He comes off of it, brings it out, ball screen. Jay Crowder drops to the corner. And this is the same move. I'm going to slow it down. So this is the same action he did last time. Good job, facing up. One thing he does, little subtle. He squares up and he gives that hezzo, right? Boom. If you see Donovan Mitchell leaning, trying to get over the screen, cross, change direction, right? Pull it back, CP, So he comes off of it. It's tight quarters, the middle of the floor. Rudy Gobert's kind of high up. So you want to get away from Rudy. You don't want to keep moving forward as Devin Booker, right? Because if you keep trying to move forward and get him on your back, then Rudy's right there. He's swiping at the ball. He can potentially get it. So he goes backwards, creates space, allow DeAndre Ayton to roll, so that forces Rudy to drop. And then once Aiden gets away, then you make a move because Rudy's taking Aiden, right? And now he kind of uses it as a screen right here. Gets to the inside, same foot, same hand, floater. There's another clip. D-Book runs the lane. 2-on-1. Get to the corner as fast as you can, as he's doing. See? When you get to the corner, you force Boyan to have to make a move, right? Because obviously they're a man down. So now it's 2-on-1. Torrey Craig. Sorry, I forgot his name for a second. Torrey Craig makes the right play. D-Book, no dip, right? No dip. That's one thing. I love the no dip. Don't bring it down. It just takes too long. Boom. No dip. Shot fake above his head. Kobe, right? Over exaggerated. That's why guys like Jonas Valanciunas can get their shot fake up, because the more it looks like your jumper, the higher up it goes above your head, right? Larry Bird, right? The pump fakes are, you sell them more. So it looks more like nobody releases really, below their head, right? Nobody's releasing it. Sean Marion type below their head. So gets it above his head, gets Boyan up. I mean, Boyan's slow-footed. You can attack him whenever you want, pretty much. If you're an athletic guard. He's big. He's not a terrible defender. I'm not saying that. But, on the closeout especially, it's already difficult enough. Gets him up, watches him, see how he sees. He's looking for him, right? Guys just like to get to the one dribble pull-up and just completely forget where this guy went. If this is another defender, if this is Royce O'Neal or Daniel House, who are active, who are hungry, they're getting back into play, right? And Boyan, is just kind of slow-footed, like I said, so he can't get back into play. But D-Book, pump fake, gets to the pull-up, looks for him, raise up, doesn't hit it, but, that's a good shot.